We've been working at memorizing James chapter 1. And James chapter 1, verse 1, it says, James, a servant of God and the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes scattered among the nations. And in Galatians, the Apostle Paul tells us that it was when the fullness of time had come, when it was exactly God's timing that Jesus came. And it's interesting because James writes to the 12 tribes scattered among the nations. As they scattered out, they shared the gospel, they preached the gospel, and it resulted in a worldwide movement that we are even part of today, Christianity. So James writes to those who were scattered throughout the nations. It's in this backdrop, though, that James says in verse 2, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds. When facing trials and tribulations, we can face them with joy because we know that God uses those trials in order to build. In fact, in verse 3, he talks about God using the trials in order to build perseverance within each of us and to bring us to maturity and completion. That completion doesn't mean that right now, because of our trials, we're going to be perfect, but it does mean that God's using it to build within us. And he's the potter, we're the clay, so he's molding us. But it got me thinking, as we've prepared for the missions trip, what have been some of the challenges, maybe the trials or the challenges that you've faced in the days, weeks, months leading up to the missions trip?
So at first I didn't experience any challenges or trials except fundraising, but thankfully the Lord provided for me to go on this missions trip and clearly wants me here. I don't know why yet, and that's one of those challenges that I later struggle with. However, something you said about in James when it says face trials like joyfully, I think that's something that leading up to this missions trip has been something that the Lord has been making me face like over and over and over. And it's, I laugh at it right now because it's like, it's all that it's been the past 6 months. And I am grateful that now I finally realize why I've been going through all the things that I've been going through. However, it doesn't mean that now I'm like gonna lay down and cry. Like, no, I'm going to face my trials joyfully because that's what the Lord asks us to do.
Mm-hmm.
However, this is not an easy task. It's very hard. Some days I want to give up. Some days I just want to throw the towel in. But another thing that I've struggled with is giving everything to the Lord. So when things get tough, am I struggle to give that to the Lord, and then I can't face the trials joyfully.
Mm-hmm.
I face them very angrily, very anxiously. Overall, it's not a fun ride. So I think the challenges that He has put me through have been for a reason, and I can't wait to see how He can use the challenges that I faced through to help others in Costa Rica.
Okay, wonderful. You sort of getting at what was my next question, which is how have you seen the trials push you towards perseverance or even build within you perseverance?
Makes me realize that I can't do anything without Christ. It's very hard for me to even get up from bed um, without Christ. It changes my perspective of my day. If I start out the day with prayer, my day gets better. Or if I start out the day with worship, then that gets better. But if I don't start out with that, then it turns very, very bad. A very bad day. Oh, I feel like I was going somewhere with this. But I think, yeah, it's just overall, like you said, he's the potter and we're the clay, and he keeps molding me until it's done.
Until it's done.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me at one point Moses, he's talking with God, and God's talking about all of the things that he wants Moses to do, leading the people. And Moses tells God, God, if you're not going to go with me, I don't want to go. And I think there's something to what you're saying that, you know, you get up in the morning because of Jesus. If you're not going to go with me, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
So, one final question, I guess. What are you looking forward to the most for the rest of the day? We're one day into the trip. What are you looking forward to the most?
Um, well, I look forward to getting to Costa Rica. Um, However, I did get 4 hours of sleep, so I think I look forward to a comfy bed that the Lord will provide and reassurance that everything is going to be okay once we get to the hotel.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds good. Thank you for just being part of this trip with us, Southview, and we hope that you do enjoy getting these updates from us.
Bye.